What up, gang? It's your boy. We here today. We running the Super Sharpshooter tune. I wasn't originally going to recreate the bass, but it's super easy, so I figured why not. The original synth in the intro to that song is actually not a synth, it's a sample from a tune called Blow Your Head by the JBs. And yeah, it's like the 25 seconds into that track, there's just the crazy lead in the beginning of that song. For some reason it doesn't really feel like it belongs there at all. Nice little jazzy bop, but I did a recreation in here, and we're gonna run the original going into my recreation, and then it's gonna play the original little beat with the bass, and then it's gonna go into my little recreation. So let's run it, and then I'll talk about it and try not to take up too much time because I do be ranting. Now, right away, real quick, I'm going to say this is just it's a clean synth. And back then, since it was a sample, there was a lot of dust. So a lot of this character, I just dropped the default patch of the RC20 on. And it almost gives it all that character that it's missing. Yeah, you get so much character out of that. Just adding some texture to it, which you could do if you just chuck the sampler on. And I think my favorite is the gear static. I think in the granular, in this sampler also, there's a, if you go into static, there's a vinyl. There's a patch in here. You probably high pass that. Add a little bit of character if you wanted. I mean, obviously that's just for taste. We're probably all coming here because we want a nice clean recreation to use in our modern productions, but I'm gonna get back into this, play the little beat, and then I'll play my recreation. Okay, so all I did was I took the default patch and I PWM'd it, which I'll show you real quick. And this is the basic shapes of current saw square sine. So I took this and I think I just left it on saw. And if you go into the shape and you go to skew and then just push this to the side, what this does is it creates a PWM, which stands for pulse width modulation. So this is a pulse. A pulse essentially is just pretty much any wave, honestly, but the width of it, if you take it down, it becomes a little PWM wave essentially. That's a classic kind of analog wavetable from back in the day that a lot of people use. So I love making PWMs. They're great for Reese's and old classic sounding bass lines. Get a lot of nice texture out of them for like neuro stuff. But anyways, yeah, so all I did was just, I think I dropped a little curve on, added a little bit of attack to try and get that character. And yeah, I made this look more like an analog curve. This is what a natural analog curve would look like. A little bit of attack in the front. I added an extra little bit of attack into it. Just get that attack bump in the front, helps it give it that little bit of that boost from the original. And then just a slight bit of release just to keep it clean. But this curve, it's actually boosting the cutoff, the resonance, and I believe I did put it on here, but I wasn't using it. But if you put it on, this is the global control. In Serum, you would have had to go into the, whatever, I forget, the matrix tab, I think, and then you to go to the global control to give the whole, everything that runs through the synth a little bit of a pitch boost. So this would be the master tuning global control. If you're used to using Serum, this is that same routing essentially. And since this was originally a sample, I put it on mono, so it just would play like a sample and stop at the end of the wave. That's pretty much the whole thing. I threw the dark pump, which is the second OTT option in current. So that's the sound, just from like 10 to noon and then noon to 3 on the filter and resonance. Probably add a little bit of sustain. Sounds so flat to me without adding the retro. All this is the default patch on RC20. And if you don't have this, this is one of my favorite plugins. And I know that this video is not about any external processing because we're just using stuff inside of Current, but it just literally gave it everything it was missing. So do what you will with that information. And now let's talk about the bassline. This bassline was actually originally a sample too on Future Music's first magazine release, where they released a CD that came with it. I think it was like sample number 9 or something on that CD. It was originally a donk. These are the notes. It goes from like G and then down from D back up to G essentially. But this is easy. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to leave it on the default, push these over to the sine tables, and then we're going to use some FM. Personally, this is just the quickest way that I like to use the FM. I usually would use a curve just because there's more control, but just to make this a quick video, this is pretty much a donk shape. And we're going to chuck this on to the first FM, and then we're going to run B, the source of B running into oscillator A, and then take the level down here. And then I'm probably just going to run this up to about 11. 2 down on this one, and then just 1 on this one. Put that in mono. We're going to go to the filter and chuck that on there. You can actually bring this down a lot more. Bring that up to like noon. Since this was an old analog sound originally, I'm going to move the position and just thicken these sine waves up just a little bit. Not as much on this one, so we have a clean modulation, but I'm going to thicken this one up just slightly. Probably just throw a little bit of distortion, just boost it just slightly, but just for a little bit of added warmth. That's pretty much how the original sample would have sounded. It was just a little donk. So what they did was they chucked it into a sampler and they reversed it. So we're just going to take this shape, drop the decay. I should probably move this first. Drop the decay on that, and then essentially reverse how that sample would have been played. And I'm going to add this little curve. I'm going to open it up just a little bit and then give it a little bit more of that body. So that's pretty much that bass. That's a classic bass. It's originally referred to as the dread bass, as you can see how I've saved it here. Another absolutely classic. Jungle Tomb features a sample from was it, the name was so funny, it was like some running the chicken hut or something at the chicken shop or something funny. Anyways, classic stuff. But yeah, so that's that. I hope everyone learned a bit from that, and then you could run up your own little fun little jungle tunes. If you got some good jungle tunes, drop your SoundCloud handles in the comments or something. I'm down to check them out. All right, bless it.